Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. Yes, we'll be getting back to more stuff from the big wave of stuff for Rise of Skywalker and for the Skywalker Saga, as the stuff from places like the UK, Australia, and Japan finally start kind of rolling in. At this point, we're going to do a run of episodes on some other relatively new stuff I've required that I hadn't had a chance to show you yet, because most of it's been sitting in a tub in the other room for a week or so as other ones were coming in and to sort of quarantine it, even though many of them were able to be wiped down in this age of COVID. I guess I should also note here early on that the background again has changed. We got to the point now where my son is able to reach this set of shelves without needing to stand on anything and is able to pull things down, as we found the other day. So during the day, those project boards, those three-part project boards that had been sitting like this in the background are now going to have to sit vertically so they cover up that shelf too. And that just makes for a terrible background, quite frankly. So I guess what's happening now is I'll just be putting those back when I'm done recording each time, and before recording, taking them down. Which is that now you can sort of see the way I've divided this up. Essentially from here up, that's the home video collection on most of these shelves, and from there down, that's the books I actually kept when I sold off my Legends and Canon collection. So mostly signed stuff, or choose your own adventure stuff that I really dig, or it's Russian translated stuff that I have a couple copies of, you know, just random stuff like that, whatever it tickled my fancy, so to speak, to keep. So, new background, basically just the old background uncovered, but that new organization that I don't think you had seen, because as soon as I reorganized for the home video to be here up, I think that's when I started putting those boards up. So, this time we're starting out with actually something that harkens back to a couple of things we've seen before, which in one case is sort of a fan-made, not really parody, but film about Star Wars fans done as a comedy, which is Fanboys. But at the same time, also looking at something that we've seen before in terms of a fan documentary, or a documentary about fans, or a fan-made documentary about Star Wars, whatever you want to call it, which is The People versus George Lucas. Before we start, though, I did want to make a quick note, a quick clarification and correction. You may recall when we did our episode recently about Staroids, that I noted the fact that not too fond of the idea that being, you know, kind of promulgated by this cover just because of the idea of, well, it's kind of playing into that whole, you know, nerds want boobies kind of thing, kind of plays into the stereotype, but that I was under the impression, based on what you see on the disc, that perhaps this was done on purpose, because there was a Slave Leia cosplayer on the cover of Staroids in the first release that didn't appear within the documentary, so people had asked about it over and over again to the point where they included an Easter egg of a quick little interview with this cosplayer on the second release. So given the fact that it's kind of grainy footage and whatnot, and obviously my eyesight is not perfect, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that, okay, well, not only did they play it up by saying, hey, we're going to bring this person back as an Easter egg, we'll just bring this person back a little bit older, because about 5 years or whatever had passed, and use that person all over the packaging, all over the discs, and so on. Well, turns out this is not the same person a little bit older. I really couldn't tell from an eyesight standpoint, and I am certainly not a Slave Leia aficionado, which I think speaks more well of me than ill. In any event, this is Tanya as named in the second version, and then this apparently is a cosplayer named Christy Marie. So two different people. I had no idea. My thanks to the couple of people who pointed this out within the comments for the Star Wars review. Unfortunately, I think it does, by making it this not the same person as that, takes away at least some of their possible rationale of being able to say, well, the reason why we went that route was because of people asking so much about this individual, so now the individual is everywhere. Where if it's not the same individual, then it's just a, wow, everybody was looking for Slave Leia before, let's Slave Leia the hell out of this one. So I'm not sure that that actually helps the situation, but wanted to put in that clarification. Okay, so taking a look here at Fanboys. We've already looked at Fanboys with DVD, we've looked at it with Blu-ray. This is the Blu-ray we saw from the United States, lots of cool bonus features and whatnot, and our disc art for the US right there. Well, just recently, I came across, or a friend of mine came across, a steal. I believe it was Brian Snook who found it. And it was an absolute steal on a Steelbook, so S-T-E-A-L, for a S-T-E-E-L book coming out of Germany, which is a Steelbook of Fanboys that's a little bit unusual. Now, because it was a steal, I wasn't all that super concerned when it actually arrived damaged. I paid very little for the item, very little for shipping. Not a shock it came in a crappy little bubble mailer that had very little padding actually on the inside and got partially crushed in the mail. I'm not that crushed that it was crushed, but suffice to say, this is a special German Steelbook of Fanboys. And it's a little bit different because you'll notice up here, Steelbook, and then it says something in German. Fanboys has the rating down here that's basically like a sticker that's on it, the Blu-ray symbol, the characters there with Vader in the background. Something they did not do in the US, probably because of the rights of Star Wars characters not being something that they had access to, for instance. Okay, so kind of like a traditional Steelbook, it does say Cape Light down here. That's the Cape Light Pictures who's putting this stuff out. You look at the spine here, you got Cape Light, Fanboys, DTS, HD, Blu-ray, and product number. What's weird about this as a Steelbook is then this is the back. The back of this Steelbook is what we would normally see on the J card, the cardboard piece that you would take off and then have art on the back of the Steelbook. That's not what this is. This is actually J card type material on the actual Steelbook itself, which is, in my experience, very, very odd. So you got your German quote, images from it, Kristen Bell. That one I know just because it's Kristen Bell, and they made a big deal out of it with the film, of course. Fanboys, description, extras, then some information about a bonus disc that's included, which we'll get to in a minute. And your cast crew information, various icons and whatnot, like 1080 HD, blah, blah, blah. Company logos, the fact that this Weinstein has not aged well. Then information about your language options, rating there, and so on. Right? Just like you'd see on a J card, only this time actually on the Steelbook itself. Got a little advertisement for Cape Light films, most of which I've never heard of. But then the interesting part is that, one, you have here the Fanboys Blu-ray, right? Vader on it. Again, you would not have seen Vader on this in the United States because of rights issues and whatnot. As far as the iconography and whatnot, we have Blu-ray, Fanboys, rating, Region B, product number, Cape Light, Weinstein Company. Then we have, what is this? Trigger Street, then Full HD, 1080, DTS HD, and Dynamic HD as well there. But unfortunately, I can't tell you much about the bonus features other than that, hey, they're listed on here in German, because this denotes, as many Blu-rays do not these days, that this is Region B. Okay? So this Fanboys Blu-ray is actually region locked. You cannot play that in a US Blu-ray player. You need an all-region one. I do not have one to be able to play that at this point. So I was a little bit frustrated, but not because I bought this for Fanboys. I already got Fanboys on Blu-ray. It's the bonus disc that I was really concerned about. Because you may recall that in the past on this show, we looked at a documentary called The People vs. George Lucas, right? This, however, in the US was only released on DVD. There's a very plain looking disc there. But this was not something you could find on Blu-ray here, right? Well, the bonus disc on this Fanboys Steelbook Blu-ray release that is region coded as Region B is the Blu-ray from Germany of The People vs. George Lucas. So you have your Blu-ray symbol there, rating, The People vs. George Lucas, various items underneath here. Let's see, Cape Light, Cork Films, Salt, etc., etc. Full HD 1080, DTS HD, a little bit of legalese around the bottom and a tiny bit up there at the top. So Blu-ray of The People vs. George Lucas. That was what I was really concerned about. And it turns out that that one is not region coded. That is region free. You can watch that in the US, which is awesome because that's what I bought the thing for. I wanted to be able to have a copy of that one on Blu-ray, not just on DVD. So it's kind of cool, and it's got some new bonus features. The original People vs. George Lucas DVD from the US had a filmmaker commentary, People vs. Star Wars 3D, music video, poetry slam, selects, as they called it, a Gary Kurtz interview, and a section of also from Lionsgate that was just like other previews of Lionsgate stuff. Whereas the Blu-ray version coming out of Germany, which is in English, but simply has German subtitles, sweet, so it's good for an English language viewer, has extended interviews, a section called Big Fanboy, a section called Fan Submissions, we have Geekscape, Mania Entertainment interview, original Star Wars continuity script, RGB filter interview, poetry slam, and 3 trailers. The original trailer, the SXSW, right, South by Southwest trailer, and what's called Trailer 3. So if you're into Steelbooks, you might pick up the Fanboys Steelbook from Germany. But don't plan to watch it here because the Fanboys disc is region coded B, can't watch it on a US player. However, get it if you're looking for a Blu-ray copy of People vs. George Lucas that did not exist over here, because you'll be able to get it. It is region-free. It is English language, just with some German subtitles that you can watch on a US player and get all those extra bonus features if this was one of those fan documentaries that you enjoyed. So kind of a roundabout way to get that. Yes, you can buy People vs. George Lucas separately on Blu-ray coming out of Germany. It's that same disc in its own packaging. In this case, I figured kill two birds with one stone, and the price was low enough to make it, again, really a steal that I couldn't pass up, which unfortunately I wound up paying the price for, in figurative and literal terms. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.